Hello guys, how are you? Welcome to the second week of our course. First of all, I want to thank you for all your attention and everything that you did for the week number one. I saw a lot of participation. I am doing this video in advance. Nevertheless, by the time I did it, I had already received most of the assignments, which shows commitment and compromise, and that's nice because it somehow rewards the hard work that I've been doing. It's not been easy, but well, I'm doing my best. Um, of course, I will complete individual comments in your different assignments. I received them from even some of them since the previous week. Nevertheless, I didn't grade them because some of the questions have the same answer, right? So I didn't want that just grade one and then like it would be a little bit easier for the rest. It wouldn't be so fair, no? But anyways, I am going to complete some comments, some individual comments, and if necessary, I will write an additional post or video in order to clarify certain things. But what I have revised yet is really good. I don't think we are not going to have like a lot of comments or a lot of clarifications that need to be done. Okay. Well, I normally start the classes with by reading you a short poem or a short fragment of a book. I didn't do that on the week number one because you had a lot of things to watch, right? So I didn't want to make you full of things. But well, starting this week that we have less videos and less formats to fill and less introductory things to say. So I would like to share with you this short fragment of a poem by Charles Bukowski that is called A Definition. Okay. Love is nothing but headlights at night running through the fog. Love is nothing but a beer cap that you step on while on the way to the bathroom. Love is a lost key to your door when you're drunk. Love is what happens one day, a year, 1 year in 10. And then the poem is longer, right? And there's a lot of different things, but that initial part is one that I like really the most. It's really nice. So if any of you is interested in that, you just can look it up yourselves. Very well, guys, so we are going to continue our theoretical approach. So if you can be so kind and go to the slide number 20, we are going to find the final part of the paragraph. Remember that you have already explored the let's say the topic sentence and the supporting sentences. We made some distinctions between topic sentence and main idea, and I'm happy because most of you, for what I have seen in the assignments, you were able to grasp the difference really well. And the same for the sentences that you created, especially for the assignment number 3. So we're required to go now with the conclusion, right? So, well, first of all, to mention that a conclusion is like a adapted and changed modified topic sentence, right? If you take a look at the topic sentence and the conclusion, they should present more or less the same characteristics, the same points or ideas. They are just written in a different way, right? And we will see that we have different alternatives in order to complete that. So let's take a look at some of the definitions or some of the characteristics that we have in the slide number 20. It says indicates that you are bringing closure to a paragraph. So this conclusion should be clear enough in order to see that those ideas that we presented in the paragraph are over or somehow are complete, or that we are going to talk about something different in the next paragraph. Remember that we are dealing over here not necessarily with the final paragraph. No, this could be the first paragraph in an essay of 5 paragraphs, or it can be the second or the third or something like that. So it is not supposed to close the whole idea of the essay or the text, only the ideas or the main points of the paragraph themselves, or in this case itself. Okay. So it's important that you do not use necessarily expressions such as finally, in the end, to conclude. Well, those will be fine for the final paragraph of a text. But if it's a paragraph in the middle, well, maybe you have some other options that we will see in a moment. For now, we are writing only paragraphs, yes, not complete essays. And that is what I'm going to ask you to do in one of the assignments, right? So it's fine if you want to use that, because as we have only one paragraph, it's okay to say to finalize, to finish, to conclude, sum up, right? But in general, take that into account, no? The difference between one and the other. Well, let's continue. It says, for each paragraph, the reader should be able to identify what your key points are based on, on the concluding sentences, okay? So if anybody is reading really quickly and is not reading the whole paragraph but just reading the sentences, the conclusion, it should be clear enough to condense, to summarize a little bit of what you were proposing in the paragraph. Remember what I mentioned the other day. If you are really in a hurry and you require to just scan a little bit the text, you can go either to the topic sentence that I had already recommended that, or to the conclusions, right? So if it is somehow well written, you must have a general idea of what the text was about. Of course, if you want details, you would require to read the whole thing, but that is going to give you somehow the general idea of what you propose throughout the text. And then it says it should not include any information that was not discussed in the paragraph. This is really important. Remember that this conclusion normally presents a summary or presents a condensation of what you talk about. So if you are going to include something that is additional to that, it wouldn't look so good. Yeah. So let's think about your text or your paragraph about abortion. Let's imagine that you say that you didn't like abortion, that it should not be permitted. Yes. And again, in the supporting ideas, you had something related to psychological damage to women, that you have, I don't know, maybe a religious connotation, that it should not be allowed for religious reasons, and another one, okay? And let's imagine that in the conclusion, you said, for all these reasons, abortion shouldn't be allowed, and also abortion is legal in the United States. You see that it's completely out of tune. It might be real or not, yes, the information can be real or not, but you did not discuss that previously, and in this particular example that I'm giving you, it completely contradicts what you were trying to say, that it's prohibition, right? So let's try to omit that. Let's try to include information that you did not discuss before. If you're going to include any information, make sure that it is in the supporting sentences. Otherwise, it shouldn't be like, it wouldn't be very adequate, and it will confuse the reader a little bit, and maybe it will weaken your argument somehow. And then it says, the final part that we have in here, it says the concluding sentence helps to tie everything together by emphasizing details from the topic sentence, using different wording and summing up supporting facts. So, do you see? There is this affirmation over here that says that it uses some of the elements of the aspects, the arguments, the facts, the ideas or arguments that you provided in the topic sentence, but it uses like different wording. Basically, you rephrase, reformulate, paraphrase the the topic sentence in the conclusion, right? Then the thing is that that is only one of the possible options, right? Like summarizing or rewording or reformulating or paraphrasing the topic sentence. Here in our course, we are going to cover at least 5 different like conclusion types, right? So let's take a look at each one of them. There are a couple of examples over here, and let's see that we have more than one options. That is the most classical. I just summarize what I said, and that's it. But we are here to learn to do different things, right? And try to do that in a different way. So, for example, let's take a look at the option number 1. It says, a concluding sentence may restate the main idea using different words. So that is the classical one, the one that we have already discussed, and is basically just changing a little bit the topic sentence, and that would be your conclusion. We have an example over here. Clearly, the negative health risks associated with the use of marijuana indicate that this drug should remain illegal. Yeah. So we have an imaginary essay or paragraph over here that apparently was against the use of marijuana, right? And most probably in the topic sentence they said something similar, and this conclusion is this. So it's a summary of what they already mentioned, and that will be it. Okay. So remember that option number 1 is the most classical one, the most frequent one. So we are going to use that, but we're going to try to explore other things. We're going to, as often as possible, we're going to try to use something different, okay? So here we go with the number 2. A concluding sentence may summarize key points made in the paragraph. Okay, so in this case, we are going to focus in the option number 2. We're going to focus on the supporting sentences. In the option number 1, we are basically changing the topic sentence, but in the option number 2, we're going to summarize, refresh, or restate some of the information that was presented on the supporting sentences. So let's take a look at this example. It says, because of its popularity, widespread abuse, and profitability, the U.S. Should decriminalize marijuana and profit from its use. Okay, so let's imagine that this is another paragraph different from the option number 1. In the option number 1, the writer was against the use of marijuana. In the number 2, apparently the author is pro or thinks or considered that it could be a good idea. And take a look. Very curiously, he mentioned 3 things: popularity, abuse, and profitability. Profitability deals with the money that it can generate, right? So if we think about that, how many supporting sentences are we supposed to have? 3, right? So in the end, he's summarizing the 3 supporting sentences. Probably he or she wrote a complete paragraph or a complete supporting sentence about popularity and about the abuse of it and about profitability. So based on this, the author decides that that could be a good conclusion. Okay, so that will be the option number 2. Remember, we're going to emphasize on the key points or the supporting sentences or the supporting paragraphs. Very well. Now let's go with the number 3. It says, a concluding sentence may profess a hope for the future. Okay, so in this case, we have something completely different, something that is outside what we have already written, something somehow new, but that is completely related to what we are saying. Yes? So let's say that the option number 1 and 2 are reformulations or changes or accommodations or adaptations of what we have already said in the text. And in the option number 3, we have an expectation, a good desire, a hope for the future, but that it must be completely related to what we are saying. So let's take a look at the example. It says, finally, because of marijuana has more value than recreational value, it may be one day recognized as a respected healing tool. Okay? So we have another imaginary paragraph. The first one was against marijuana. The second one was pro marijuana, but because of money reasons and popularity and etc. And then option number 3 is like the number 2. It's pro marijuana, but it is about the healing properties that it might have. That is the author like idea. So he is saying, well, I expect that in the future marijuana is recognized beyond this somehow recreational value, but as a healing tool or something like that. So you see, the author over there is proposing like something different, and is expecting that something happens in the future. Then we have the option number 2. A concluding sentence may formulate an opinion on the topic. Okay, so this means that you can present facts, information, statistics, somehow facts that you collect from other places, yes, but in the end you're going to give an opinion. Yes, so based on everything that you collected and based on everything that you presented the reader, now you are authorized, you have somehow enough authority and information in order to provide an opinion, to give an opinion, right? So let's take a look at the example. It says, because of the dangers associated with a dependence of marijuana, it clearly should not become more readily available to the public. So again, in the number 4, we have a person who does not consider that marijuana should be legalized by any means, because it is a source of dependence or, well, different things related to it, right? But that is his opinion, right? We can assume that he or she presented certain things in this imaginary text that, or this imaginary paragraph that was against that, and in the end he was able like to give the opinion. I don't think it should be legalized. That is what he says, right? So number 4 will be an opinion. And finally, the option number 5, it says a concluding sentence may give advice on the topic. So well, just like it says, so we provide some advice, some sort of recommendation or suggestion to the reader, and that would be another option, right? Rather than summarizing or expressing opinions or using key points, now we are basically going to give the reader a suggestion, right? So let's take a look at the example. It says, consider writing a Congress representative to ensure marijuana's benefits can be more readily accessible to those in pain. Okay, so we can imagine that this imaginary text is about the use of marijuana for medicinal purpose, and how sometimes it is forbidden in certain states and places. So the writer of this text suggests the reader that if he has one of these diseases or sicknesses that may be controlled or diminished by marijuana, he should write his representative in the Congress, right? Like, why don't you write a letter, and hopefully your representative can help you somehow use it under these particular exceptions of medicinal use. So as you can see, we have 5 different options. Probably there are more, but these are the ones that we are going to concentrate in on this particular course. Okay, so hopefully manage at least those 5 and be readily available to use any of them at any time. Well, as I mentioned, here we have some examples of concluding sentence starters, right? Like some words, expressions that you can use in order to point out that you are dealing with a conclusion, right? So here we have some that are really classical ones, like in conclusion, that is pretty evident, yes, or maybe finally, yes, or maybe lastly, right? All of them imply a definitive conclusion of the text, right? So I would recommend that you use those in conclusion, finally, and lastly, only if you are going to write the conclusion or the final conclusion of the whole text, and there's nothing else later on, there is not a paragraph after that, there is not additional writing, you can use that. Otherwise, if you are going to use an intermediate conclusion, meaning that that paragraph is over but then we have another paragraph or many other paragraphs, I would recommend some of the other ones, okay? Such as therefore, as expressed, overall, as a result, thus, for this reason, in general, etc. Right? So use those wisely. Of course, you cannot use that indistinctly. You have to verify if it somehow fits with what you're going to say later on. Yes, with what you're going to say next. If that's the case. You can use it or not, no, because not all of them can be valid for it. If you have any doubt, right, because I guess that they're somehow clear enough, depending on what each one of them expresses. But if you have any doubts on when, if you can use it with a particular conclusion that you're going to propose, do not hesitate. Just ask me. Use my WhatsApp or use any of the other communication means that we have in order to continue with it, okay? Very well, so let me, hopefully with this we're done with the conclusion part, and it means that we're done with the paragraph structure, right? Because last week we dealt with a topic sentence and supporting sentences, and now this week we finish with the conclusion, so it means that now we are supposed to manage the whole structure of the paragraph, okay? So we're going to have well, 3 assignments, but for now I'm going to explain 2 of them, and this is the first one that we have. Okay, so if you go to the slide number 23, you will see this. Now it says create a concluding sentence for the paragraphs you have been writing. When done, revise again the paragraph as a whole, its coherent and its parts. Okay. So basically what I'm asking you to do here is to write a complete paragraph, okay? Now, if you have been, disciplined, you already have a topic sentence, a successful topic sentence, and you already have 3 successful supporting sentences, okay? So, the only thing that you would require to do is to copy and paste the previous 4 sentences, topic and 3 supporting, and you are going to create a concluding sentence, and that will be your paragraph, right? So we are going to add the work that you have from last week to this one, and that will be perfect. So basically what I'm asking you to do for this assignment is to write only 1 sentence, no more, because the rest is supposed to be ready. Now let's imagine that you didn't like it very much, like nowadays or this week you think that you can write a better paragraph. Well, if you want to do that, you're welcome, yes? Or that you, for practice, you want to select another topic and complete it, that will be fine. Let's imagine that last time you wrote about a version, and now you want to talk about the second language, or you want to talk about a family meeting, well, anything else. So if you want to do it that way, sure, that's fine. I'm open to it. The only thing is that it would require a little bit longer because you need to write again a topic sentence and 3 supporting sentences. Well, but that's it, okay? So that will be it. That will be the assignment number 1. It is an individual assignment, so please provide the complete paragraph for it, okay? And that is the assignment number 1. Now, please, for the assignment number 2, what you're going to do is to write another paragraph, okay? About what? What about? Whatever you want, yes? So it can be all about whatever topic that you select. It can be a descriptive or narrative or whatever. You're free to do that. What is the condition? That it should be a 5-sentence paragraph minimum. It must include a topic sentence, 3 supporting sentences, and 1 conclusion, right? So those are the minimums, 5 sentences that we're going to have. Remember to use transitional words, and remember to use some of the connectors that I just presented for the for the conclusions. Okay, so basically those would be the first two assignments for this week number 2. Okay, hopefully everything is clear. If you require any further assistance, sorry, do not hesitate to let me know. And that will be it. See you in the next video, in which we are going to talk about descriptive paragraphs, and we are going to give you the final assignment for this week. Every week we are going to have more or less 3 assignments that are somehow fair, no? That does not really require a long time, but that it comes within our normal framework of 4 or 5 hours a week. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, and see you in the next video. Bye bye, hugs.